This is The Blockchain Show. The Blockchain Show is a podcast that demystifies cryptocurrency and distributed ledger technology.
Hello everybody, it's Mark Beecham here reporting for The Blockchain Show. I am live in London. It's a beautiful sunny morning and I'm standing at the foot of one of London's tallest buildings. It's the Shard by London Bridge Station. So today we're going to meet up with Robert Dykes from Caspian. Caspian, I think, is a joint venture between a couple of technology and trading companies. So I'm going to meet Robert, going to talk about Caspian, talk about some of the companies that have founded Caspian. Caspian is a trading and asset management platform, has a number of solutions for trading and dealing with I believe crypto assets and possibly other assets. We'll find out more later. So stay tuned and keep on listening, and we'll find out more about Caspian. And welcome from London. It's Mark Beecham here with
Robert Dykes. So Caspian is an enabler to the whole blockchain ecosystem. We're trying to help institutionalize crypto asset management. That's the big focus there is really enabling technologies, trading systems. So if you look at Caspian, there's a couple of key components. There's what we call execution management system, EMS. There's an order management system, compliance, risk management, and portfolio management. And when you put those products together, you create a platform that enables institutional investors to trade cryptocurrencies.
So is that any different than say, kind of the traditional trading world? All of those elements, all of those solutions sound like they come from a more established trading background, risk management, portfolio management. Imagine a time before cryptocurrencies existed and crypto assets. Was your organization involved in just standard trading, traditional trading, before you got into this exciting new world of crypto assets?
Yeah, so Caspian's a joint venture between TORA and Kinetic, and TORA provides trading systems or trading technology to hedge funds in the traditional asset classes, so futures, options, equities, fixed income, foreign exchange. So really Caspian is an extension of that asset class into cryptocurrencies.
Just pause it right there whilst we get a coffee. And 3, 2, 1, we're back in the room, and you were talking about TORA.
So TORA is about 250 people globally. We have most of our development in Eastern Europe and Asia. And then in fall of last year, we started talking to some of our existing and legacy clients, I guess, about providing a solution in the crypto asset management market. And that's kind of the genesis of TORA. A lot of interest from our existing client base and especially from Kinetic. And Kinetic is a advisor, technology provider, asset manager in the cryptocurrency market. They were looking for something more than spreadsheets to manage their trading activity. Mm-hmm. Kinetic, along with many of our existing clients, had started to trade crypto in pocket funds or side funds. So it seemed like it was the right time to kind of pivot the business into this new asset class.
That's really interesting. I think we were talking in a previous podcast or a recent podcast about how some of the best ideas in crypto and in blockchain are kind of coming from needs. So someone like Kinetic sounds like they had a need for a crypto asset trading platform, and you had a solution for a trading platform, and you kind of worked the two together to come up with something that not only fulfills what, by the sounds of it, Kinetic's needs, but also could be used by other trading organizations and other people who are really interested and have a fair amount of money to be trading in large-scale crypto assets, right?
Exactly. And so some of our larger clients that are on the platform right now are, Galaxy, Octagon, Techemy, a lot of both what I call hedge fund crypto asset managers and also OTC desks that are helping provide liquidity into the market.
Tell me a little bit about your development teams. Clearly you established through TORA a team to build that solution, the traditional trading platform.
I keep calling it a traditional. I'm sure you'll want to correct me at some point. But how did you find? Presumably, though, the same teams have then worked on the crypto asset version through Caspian. Is that correct?
Yes. So, as a firm, we've been innovators in the space for a long time. There's let's say, a core group of developers inside of TORA that have been trading crypto for the last 3-4 years, and pretty advanced, using trading algorithms, bots, to implement arb strategies and other types of trading strategies in the crypto market. And so we had a lot of domain knowledge in trading crypto, in dealing with exchange nuances. And so when we decided to pivot the TOR business into this space, we had a lot of
head start.
We had a lot of head start. Most of the guys on the team, like I said, have been trading crypto for 3 to 5 years.
Okay. So it's the sweet spot. Some people will have made some money during that period, I imagine.
Probably.
And maybe not so much over the past 6 months, but but yeah. I mean, how are you seeing those markets adapting to what's been quite a turbulent 6 to 9 months? It was all kind of gravy train last year, and everybody was happy since January, since the turn of the year. It's been on the downside of volatile.
Well, there's been a lot of volatility, just not necessarily good volatility.
Yeah.
I think it actually helps a platform like Caspian because it puts a higher premium on risk management. It puts a higher premium on active management of portfolios, being able to cut and build positions really quickly, and automate a lot of that process. So I think volatile markets beget the need for better technology,
More insight, more data to back up your next move.
Yes,
that's really interesting. Yeah, because I mean, I am probably the casual crypto investor, and I've been less active. It's been less attractive, I guess, to do anything with it. So I've been hodling away, maybe buying a little bit this past week whilst it dipped quite a bit. But yeah, somebody who is more of an active, an active investor, and as you kind of said earlier, that those nuances that your team have picked up in their past 3 to 5 years, those are really useful nuances to automate, to programatize, to systemize, so that a serious investor can be more informed, can be more certain of. So, if anything, certain in the trading world, but more informed about what they're going to do next.
Exactly. I think while there's been a ton of volatility in the market, I think we're still really at the beginning. I think one of the big drivers I see going into next year will be security tokens. Okay. I think as you start to see clarity from U.S. regulators on how to regulate utility tokens, security tokens, and anything in between, I think clarity there is going to drive a lot of growth in the space.
Do you think there's going to be a contraction at all in that space? I mean, at the moment, it's been nothing kind of but explosion. There's been new ideas, new tokens, new opportunities, and largely picked up in the sort of startup type space, but there's an increasing amount of larger businesses getting involved. Do you think there will be a pulling back, a consolidation of some things, a casting aside of some things that don't work over the next couple of years?
Well, I think the tokens are the number of tokens that are in the marketplace are going to grow tremendously. And when I say that, I'm talking really about security tokens. Mm-hmm. I think that's a huge potential growth area. I think the question is whether that's 1 year away or 3 years away. I think different people will have differing views on that. But I think blockchain and tokenization of traditional business make a ton of sense. I'm a true believer in that kind of vision. That's going to, I think, transform a lot of what we do today over the next 3 to 5 years.
You touched on how your your kind of development teams and your technical teams were already kind of keen crypto enthusiasts. Has that made it easier for those technical teams to kind of pick up the new technologies, approaches that blockchain is bringing, or are they kind of still using their old approaches and they just naturally apply themselves to the blockchain world? What's the difference for those tech teams? Are they just working on same technologies, new outcomes?
So the actual mechanics, the plumbing of putting on a trade, taking off a trade, measuring risk, rebalancing portfolios, accessing exchanges, a lot of that is, I would say, traditional infrastructure. I think where the expertise really comes in handy is dealing with a lot of the nuances of the exchanges. For example, if you trade on a national exchange, equities exchange like New York Stock Exchange, there's many different order types. There's, for example, simple ability to amend an order. Some exchanges don't have that concept, so it's a cancel and send a new order. And so synthetically to create amend orders, that's kind of the nuances that understanding the exchange mechanics from a development perspective has come in handy.
Forgive me if I'm jumping around a little and just kind of piece things together, but the traditional trading world, has been largely built around major cities of the world, major markets. You mentioned to me earlier, you're quite active in the Asian markets. Then you have, New York, London, Frankfurt, and a number of other large financial services backed cities where a lot of the trading has happened before. Do you see that changing? Has that shifted with the advent of cryptocurrencies and crypto assets, or is it still operating in those pockets?
Well, I think long term, I think those financial centers around the world, as this asset class grows, those pools of liquidity are going to allocate into this asset class. And so I think you are going to see a lot of the trading activity long term in the main financial hubs, centers around the world. Right now, I think it's a lot more decentralized. I think there's much more dispersion in terms of people that are actively trading it. But, if you look, Hong Kong's a big center of trading, South Korea, Japan, the U.S. So, I think that dispersion will consolidate into centers. And potentially, places like San Francisco could become a hub. There's a ton of entrepreneurship in the whole blockchain crypto space there. So maybe the center of the universe may shift a little bit from New York to San Francisco.
Silicon Valley pull.
Yeah.
And I guess from a London perspective, where we are today, I guess we're going to be fighting over the next couple of years to stay relevant. We have been one of those financial centres of the world for the past couple of 100 years, probably, and over the next 6 to 9 to 12 months, we're going to have our own financial challenges as Brexit takes effect, as potentially some of the banks and financial institutions start to pull away from London, possibly. I think what London does have is that skill base. There is a lot of people. There's probably not enough people right now for the work that's at hand. There is possibly a bit of a skills drain, but we do have a lot of skills. I guess that's what I hope to see, living and working in London, to see new technologies, new opportunities pop up if some of those traditional financial institutions start to pull back. So Caspian itself, your crypto asset trading platform, is it just for trading between crypto assets, or is it between crypto assets and other assets?
Focus of the Caspian platform is obviously to trade crypto assets, but we do have the ability to trade non-crypto assets. Like, there's Bitcoin futures, for example, on CME that you can trade through the platform. And as derivatives in traditional exchanges are launched, you'll be able to access those from the Caspian platform as well. And maybe long term, there'll be interest in trading, crypto assets against, equity. So I think all of those things will happen in the future, probably. Right now, there's a very big separation from traditional asset managers in traditional asset classes like equities, futures, options, fixed income, and people that are trading crypto. There's not a lot of crossover.
That's interesting.
The funds are very much segregated at this point.
But it could start to pull together. Yeah. Certainly, if some of those, I guess, assets, the crypto assets over time are proven. We're still in the early days, relatively speaking. I guess it's less than 10 years since Bitcoin was launched, just about. I would expect to see over the next couple of years, maybe if crypto still retains its interest, that it does become something more mainstream. I guess it is still a little bit out to the side there and treated as such. That's interesting.
I will say that, from an awareness perspective, crypto assets, cryptocurrencies are mainstream. I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody in the U.S. That doesn't know what Bitcoin is. Mm-hmm. The question is how do we leverage the blockchain into other use cases, workflows, businesses, and once that starts to happen, I think there's going to be a tremendous growth in the asset classes. I see, gaming as one big area where the blockchain can be really leveraged, and gaming companies generate essentially security tokens for use inside the game. So, and there's airlines. I mean, there's tons and tons and tons of businesses where I think tokenization and leveraging the blockchain just make a tremendous amount of sense.
I mean, I've been thinking over the past few weeks and past couple of months, there has been a downward curve of not only the value of some of the big cryptocurrencies, but also, I think that's by association, a little bit of interest. There is still an active blockchain scene within London. There's still summits and meetups going on. But I don't know if it's just me personally, but it seems to have calmed down significantly over the past couple of months. Some, at the Christmas period when prices were high, you would see Bitcoin or Ether or something in the news, on front page news almost every day, as new records were broken and new opportunities. Now now things like Brexit have taken over in London and as the news item of the day. Do you agree that that's kind of, there is a calming down, and do you see that as a good or a bad thing? I see it as possibly a good thing, that actually we can focus on the opportunities and the technologies and the solutions rather than the hype.
So I tend to agree with you. I mean, if I look at it from a Caspian perspective, there's really four things that need to happen for institutional asset managers to come into this space. One of them is custody solutions, so third-party custody solutions. And there's a tremendous amount of investment that is going into trying to solve that problem. You've had announcements like Backed from ICE in the U.S., Anchor Labs, Ledger. There's a ton of people trying to solve that problem. Regulations is the other one. There's no clear regulations in the U.S. around security tokens, utility tokens. What is a utility token versus a security token? Some of the other regulations globally have a lot more clarity, but in the U.S. that needs to be resolved. Obviously, you need trading technologies to be able to manage the businesses. And then the other thing is liquidity and financial instruments that you can use to hedge. Liquidity meaning you can go get big blocks done. Those things are being solved as well. So if you look, there's lots of OTC desks that have grown up over the last several years that you can put big trades on. we're going to start to see decentralized exchanges play an active role in putting on trades. And obviously there's a lot more derivatives that are coming out, options and futures, warrants, etc., that people can use to hedge risk. So a lot of things are happening concurrently right now, and I think that over the next 12, 18 months, most of those problems are going to be resolved. And I think along with the advent of security tokens and tokenization of traditional businesses, I think there's a great platform for explosive growth long term.
If traders out there who are interested in the Caspian platform, how do they find out more information?
Probably the easiest way is to go to the website, caspian.tech, and start there. There's a lot of tutorials that are on the website, PDFs explaining how the platform works. And I think one of the things that's pretty exciting about Caspian is we do have people that are using the platform today. We're in the process of trying to onboard about 170 clients over the course of the next several months. So we've got a pretty big backlog, and it's very exciting for us.
Yeah, where do you see yourselves in a year's time? What's going to be different from today?
Well, hopefully those four things I just mentioned are going to be solved, and you're going to see a lot of the traditional asset managers come into this space and provide a lot more explosive growth for the business long term. I think we're essentially in the first or second inning of a 9-inning baseball game, to use the American analogy.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So, one more thing I was going to cover. Robert, do you see any other competition in this space? You're obviously a traditional backed organisation that's pivoting. Who else is competing with you in this space?
So right now there's not many competitors in the space. If you look at the traditional providers of financial technology to asset managers in equities, futures, options, fixed income, foreign exchange, TT, Trading Technologies, does allow clients to trade Bitcoin futures on CME, but they're really not connected to any of the crypto exchanges to trade crypto assets, and their platform's limited to providing just the EMS piece of the stack. There are some new entrances that are in the market. Blockchain Terminal, Xtrade, OmniX, I think, are the three that most people ask us about. And those different platforms are focused on aspects of the platform. So the full platform for an institutional hedge fund that's trading crypto assets, they need an execution management system that has algos, including pairs trading algos. They need order management solution. They need compliance. They need portfolio management systems and risk systems. They need the portfolio management systems to then be able to do end-of-day reconciliations between the exchanges and third-party custody and banks that are part of their kind of ecosystem. So if you look at some of the new entrances like Blockchain Terminal, they're focused on just the compliance piece. If you look at Xtrade, they're still building out their fix or their connectivity to the exchanges. Versus if I look at the Caspian platform, we're connected to over 30 exchanges, both to trade and to pull market data as well as to reconcile trades. So we're definitely have a significant head start. I think OmniX, long term wants to provide a solution similar to Caspian, but they're, I would say, several years behind where we are. Just from the practical perspective that we were able to pivot from foreign exchange trading into crypto assets. So for us, the stretch into crypto is a pretty easy one.
Yeah,
versus
you had the breadth already. You're just adding more depth or adding more solutions.
Yeah, it's essentially like adding another asset class for us versus building the whole thing from scratch. And then X-Trade's another. So X-Trade's, they're building fixed or exchange connectivity. OmniX is in kind of the same spot where they're building exchange connectivity and some basic execution functionality. So, we're I think in a unique spot right now.
Yeah, sounds like you're in a strong spot, and nice to be at the top of the mountain and watching, a few others try and climb up it, but
Hopefully you don't fall down.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, for joining me for a coffee here in slightly noisy but grey and cloudy London. As I was saying to Robert, the weather's very weird here in London at the moment. It could be warm and cloudy, or cold and sunny, or somewhere else. And it's going to rain tomorrow, so it's all good here in London. Thank you once again for joining us, and we will put all the details up on the podcast and the podcast show notes and the website sometime over the next couple of weeks.
Update from our meeting with Robert from Caspian is that their token sale begins on Wednesday, the 3rd of October. So that's it's 2 weeks' time, depending on when you're listening to this. Could be a week's time, who knows. Wednesday, 3rd of October at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 a.m. BST. So they successfully raised $60 million US, part of their pre-sale. And so they're officially launching their public token sale. So if you're interested, get on the website. The links are on our website and our show notes, and have a look at their token sale.
60 million already?
16.
16 million, so not 60 million, 16 million. That's still quite a lot.
Yeah.
And what remind me, what physical assets have they got?
So theirs was an interesting one. They have actually a platform, a technology solution already. They come from a finance trading background, so they have a financial trading platform already, non-cryptocurrency enabled. So if you're trading in stocks and other assets, then they already have a solution for that. So if you're a trader, you download it, you have it on your laptop, and you react to the markets. You get insight from the app, and you buy and sell as you wish. What they've done, they've partnered up with a blockchain crypto agency, and I think they've basically extended that, or they've launched it as a new solution called Caspian, and it's doing the same thing but for cryptocurrencies. I think it's straddling across a number of the main ones, and allowing those who trade in significant amounts to do that with crypto as well as regular assets. Yeah, it seems like a real product, right? It seems like there is a sort of a genuine need. People are still trading in cryptos and tokens and Bitcoin, despite the volatility. Well, probably because of the volatility at the moment. People need to sell as much as buy, and vice versa. And so having a solution that straddles them, that enables them to sell between those without, I guess, they're probably hacking into a number of different exchanges, getting the best price at the time, rather than have to integrate one-on-one with each exchange. So, yeah, they've got a track record. They've been a serious player. They've got a development organisation behind them. They've got developers in Romania and India and the US, and so they already have a solid team building out the non-crypto version of this, and then they just sought some advice from.
So basically, if you can't make money with crypto, why not make money with
people who might
buying and selling? Exactly, and that makes sense. Loads of money. That's what we want. Loads of money. So that makes a lot of sense, and really, that's the best way to ride the blockchain wave, is to make it easier for people to invest their money in blockchain and blockchain investment opportunities. Okay, you won't make as much as them, but at least you're hedging your bets then, because you're basically going to come out on top because people will invest using your platform.
Yeah, I think these guys, obviously they already have a solution and an ecosystem, not only the development team, business development teams, but they already have customers, I think, quite big in the Far East. So, Korea, Hong Kong was mentioned, Japan a little bit, and Singapore, these are already active trading markets and locations. They're then just saying, well, you can also do the same thing with crypto. You have your trading solution. TORA, I think, is the non-blockchain, non-crypto solution, and Caspian is the crypto version of that. So different dynamics need to respond to different insights, but I think the principles stay the same around trading.
Yeah, and I went to a recent blockchain meetup locally here in Orlando, and it was interesting. The lady presenting asked who used Coinbase for their transactions, and then asked anybody to put their hands up who didn't use Coinbase, and that was nobody. So if you are listening to this and you use somebody other than Coinbase, then tell us about it and tell us what you like about that platform, and we can give it a mention. It'll be interesting. But I know a majority of people out there, and I've read a few papers since then, that Coinbase really has cornered the market for general investors. So bring on new platforms, I say.
Indeed. So, Ethan, have you managed to get hold of Michael?
No, unfortunately not yet.
Oh, no, we've got a guest missing. No, this is the first time for the blockchain show we've lost a guest. Ah!
Yeah, it's a reschedule too. They did donate $35, so there's that.
Woohoo!
I'll buy this coffee.
If this makes it into the podcast, the good way to waste $35 is give us $35 and then not turn up to the podcast. Heine, if you are listening, perfect. Or
it makes it easy for us, right? Don't have to do any research. Don't have to make things up on the spot. It's an easy thing, $5. But it's not what we want to do. We want to use that. We want to help demystify blockchain and cryptocurrency. Sometimes.
I agree. And if you are listening to this, then please go for broke. Donate $60. Don't turn up. And that'll pay for my haircut, which is happening in 45 minutes. So that's good. Mark's hair is fine. Not sure about Ethan. I think Ethan probably cuts his at home, or
he's got a buzz cut.
Or you go to Hipster Central Barbers Inc. and they brew you some fresh coffee through soil and give you that in a nice cup. So Ethan, what's happening in your world?
What's happening in my world? The Santa Monica Tech Meetup.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to go to that. When is that? I don't even know. So much blockchain going on.
Well, exactly. Tweet us if you're going as well, and perhaps you can meet up with Ethan, and we can find out your thoughts and why you love the blockchain show so much. Ethan, I hope you're clipping this all together to make it sound fun and entertaining. That's good. Ethan is our editor, which you hear occasionally, but he's a phenomenal editor. He's been doing this for over 12 years now, editing audio, podcasts, and the like. And we're very lucky to have him on board. And his lovely partner, producer.
He's a producer that produces.
Oh, thank you.
He's an executive producer. You could promote yourself, I think. And then his lovely other half, Sarah, does all of the graphics for us. One day we will get Sarah on the podcast and ask her about how blockchain has influenced our art and how it makes her get out of bed in the morning and feel vitalized to do more art, do more good in the world.
Yeah, we miss Sarah. We miss Sarah's conversations. They're great.
We do.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a proper studio. We should get like a Patreon set up.
Just keep on sending us $35 and we'll get there one day.
That's good. I've got access to one. I'm not sure how much it's going to cost us, but there we go. So question of the day, blockchain fans, and I know you're all out there thinking about blockchain and thinking what's happened to this podcast. But my question is, does anybody else out there do the dusting at home while on a conference call? It's something I do if I'm on a conference call to do with some of my customers or anything, and there's a pause in the conversation which I don't need to be involved in. I will listen, and then I do the dusting because I'm trying to use my time as effectively as possible. So does anybody else do this?
Building on from that question, maybe also, what is the most inappropriate thing you have done whilst on a conference call? I can think of one or two things that I may have been involved in, but it wasn't dusting.
I won't tell you who, but I do remember a friend of mine coming off a conference call saying he had to get on another one, and that was a lie. He had to set up his new subwoofer in his lounge before his wife got home, and then hide it behind the TV so that she didn't know that this 2-foot square box had arrived and was going to live in the living room. But inappropriate things you've done during a conference call. I like that, Mark. Please get in touch with us at theblockchainshow.com. We're on Facebook.
We're on Twitter.
Look for
we're on Mind.
We're
global fan section.
We're on Telegraph as well.
I think we are on Telegraph. Yeah.
We're on Telegraph. Where are we missing? We're not on Reddit or Instagram.
Wait, did you say Telegraph or Telegram?
Telegram. We're on
Telegram.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Telegraph. Telegraph's the 1800s, isn't it?
Yeah, he's banging out SOS messages. Yeah.
We should bring that back.
Exactly. We can send out SOS messages. That's good. How is Solar Coins doing? That icon all sits on the desktop. Have you heard anything about Solar Coins?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
We've got some of those knocking around somewhere to give away still, haven't we?
No, I'm keeping hold of mine. They're worth a fortune now.
Are they? Are they really?
No, not really. No, not really. No, a global rewards program for solar electricity generation.
Applicable only in Dubai.
Okay, let me have a look what they're worth. Blockchain fans, I hope you join us. Thank you for listening still. Solar coins. Each solar coin is worth 6 cents. 6 cents. So that's probably about 4 pence in English money.
Did we have like 15,000 on?
Yeah, we've got about 7,500 each, I think.
Something of maybe of interest. I think I will be attending the Blockchain Summit, another one of various nameage that comes around to London Olympia next Wednesday. That's Wednesday. Is that the 26th? Something like that.
Ooh.
And I will be basing myself there for the day. I think probably doing some dubious conference call things and popping around and looking at some seminars and seeing who's speaking there at the Blockchain Summit in London, England. Yes. So if anybody's going to that, then let Mark know. Mark can meet up with you. You'd love meeting up with our podcast fans, which are good. And Mark, I might be able to put you in touch with a few people I know who may also be there as well. Awesome. Yes, great to meet up, have a coffee, see if we can pay for it in Bitcoin, although at London Olympia, I doubt it. Let's have a chat. I will maybe even wear my Blockchain Show t-shirt so I can be easily identified if it's not in the wash.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope you washed it since last time we saw that out and about. And
margarita stains on it still, I think, and random beers that we picked up on the way.
Yeah, so if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, please look through the archives. And there's a great video podcast of myself and Mark going around the world at Epcot, drinking alcoholic beverages and discussing blockchain and other such news items based upon where we are drinking.
And I was just reflecting on that day, maybe Monday this week, reading some article, and it was kind of saying, how it's most people in the world now, have heard about blockchain and Bitcoin. It wasn't quite our experience at Epcot, was it?
Exactly. If you want to find out what the person on the street thinks about blockchain, Bitcoin, we did a few candid interviews, and I'll let you actually listen and find out what we found out from the general public.
So it's approaching 22 minutes past 6 here in rather blustery, windy Hurley in South London, close to where I live, and as for all you stalkers out there, and unfortunately I will be getting kicked out of this reputable coffee shop, part of a chain that's been bought out by the Coca-Cola company for $300 mega billion or something very recently. I will be getting kicked out of here, and I will have to wend my way home in the wind and rain to go and check up what's coming up at the Blockchain Summit next week, to read up a little bit more on light streams and what they do, so that when we do speak to Michael, we'll have many more interesting questions to pose to him. But apart from that, might be goodbye from me.
Excellent, Mark. Well, I do know quite a lot about that coffee chain because I worked on their Internet of Things strategy. So that's for another podcast. Or if you actually have problems sleeping, if it makes you feel any better, it was 36 degrees Celsius here yesterday, and I only checked the temperature after I've been for a 3-mile run, which is why my pace is slightly down. But yeah, ridiculously hot. And my mother arrived last night, so I'm going to be showing her the delights of Orlando and the local area while trying to keep her cool.
But a big hello to Ian's mum.
Thank you, from the Blockchain Show. Excellent, Mike. Well, you get home safely. Make sure you don't pop into the pub.
There's not one only a few hundred yards away from here that I couldn't fall into.
Exactly. That's London for you. It's very easy to fall into pubs. A bit like if you went to Seattle, falling into coffee shops. Same in London, just with pubs. So, London, supported by beer.
Brought to you by Whitbread. Right.
Other beer brewers are available.
They are available, but Whitbread's all right. Actually, no, I prefer a nice independent craft brewery myself. There we go. Okay, right. I better go, guys.
All right.
Okay, if you've got this far in the podcast, then please tweet to the blockchain. Is it blockchain_show, Ethan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it is.
Blockchain_show. Please tweet us, where's my craft beer? If you've got this far, so let me know you've listened this far, and thank you so much.
And let us know what your favourite craft beer is. My favourite is the Gamma Ray from a brewery in Tottenham. Called what are they called? Beavertown Brewery. Very good beer. If they made it out to the US, go and try and find a can. Excellent beer. Goes well with a burger.
That's a great idea, Mark. And then we can find out about more beers through the beauty of blockchain. Excellent, Mark. Great speaking to you, and look forward to speaking to you very soon and doing the next podcast.
Bye, guys. Catch you later.
Cheers, Mark. Bye-bye. Ethan, bye-bye. And listeners, goodbye, and thank you for downloading, and keep subscribing. Keep telling your friends. We need more people to subscribe. We need to get the message out there. Thank you very much for downloading. This is me, Ian, signing off.
All right.
To learn more, visit theblockchainshow.com.